Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I'm Emmanuel, I'm a Boeing 737 pilot, and I would like to thank the folks at Tobii Gaming for kindly sponsoring this video. There has been a misconception among flight simmers on how an airliner is actually flown for a very long time. Many seem to think that we are primarily looking at the displays directly in front of us, while indeed we are looking outside and to other parts of the flight deck just as much as we are looking at the instruments directly in front. Especially during critical phases of flight like taxi, takeoff and landing, you need to have one hand on the control column, the other on the thrust lever, and you still need to be able to access different parts of the cockpit and look outside to verify that the area around you is clear. Now, there is a solution to do all of that inside Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is the Tobii Eye Tracker 5. At this point, I would like to thank the folks at Tobii for sending me a copy of the tracker 2 weeks ago, and ever since I've been using it, it has really transformed the way I use my flight simulator. It's now become very easy to look around the cockpit and access all the different information you need without having to take your hands off the control column. Now, today I'm going to review the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 and how I'm using it, and towards the end of the video you will have your chance to win a free copy of the Tobii Eye Tracker 5, so be sure to stay tuned all the way to the end. So let's take a seat in the cockpit of our 737-800. And on this flight we are going to do a quick traffic pattern around Nuremberg Airport using the Tobii Eye Tracker 5. And the reason I've chosen the traffic pattern is because it makes it really easy to show you how much we are actually looking outside. So we're clear on the left, we are clear on the right. Let's put on some taxi lights and off we go. Halfway throughout the flight I am going to show you a couple of the settings and give you some of the feedback I've had playing around with those settings. And on the landing then I'm going to show you a very cool feature of the eye tracker that is going to be mostly interesting for people who are doing videos or who are live streaming, which is the Tobii Ghost Bubble, which enables your audience to see exactly what you're looking at. So if I had told you that we are looking just as much outside as we're looking inside, then you guys are going to be able to verify just that towards the end of the video. Installing the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 has been as easy as it possibly gets. So you simply plug it into the USB port. It uses a USB 2.0 connection, and then you need to start your flight simulator, and that's pretty much all there is to it. The entire setup is done completely automatic, and all that you really need to do is to start your flight simulator, assign a button to head tracking to enable and disable it as you see fit, and that's going to be it. Now, I've been using the tracker for approximately 2 weeks now, and I really fell in love with it. It makes it so easy to look around, and you can do pretty much everything with it. Now, some of the things that I am using it for, and some of the things that I am not using it for. Now, the Eye Tracker 5 is really handy in pretty much any critical phase of flight like taxi, takeoff and landing, and whenever you need to look around. Especially when flying VFR, it is a great tool to keep your situational awareness and keep your view on the terrain. However, when flying IFR, I use the tracker during taxi, takeoff, landing, and during some of the pre-flight procedures. However, for example, when I'm programming the FMC, I disable the tracker because I do find it quite a bit annoying to constantly have to look down while at the same time programming my FMS. But that is something that the flight simulator easily allows you to do, because you can very easily monitor and switch on and off your eye tracker by the touch of a button. Now let me align that aircraft on the runway here, and then I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of that. So we are now aligned with the runway, and let's say we wanted to have a quick look at the tablet standing next to the computer so that we can review our departure chart. With the eye tracking enabled, if I would now look at my tablet, it would do something like this. That's a little annoying, isn't it? But by the quick press of a button, I've just turned my eye tracker off, and now I can look around and access anything outside my primary desktop. Now, if I just turn the eye tracker back on, then here we are with the tracker enabled once again. Also, there is a very handy feature inside Flight Simulator that you can reset your point of view at any time. So let's say that you have slightly shifted the position in your seat and all of a sudden you find yourself in a position like this. If you just want to keep this position, you simply press a button, and I have assigned that directly to my yoke, and now it resets you to the default viewing position, and now this becomes your new default position. Makes it quite easy to look around, so I'm just repositioning myself on my chair right now for a nice position to actually fly the airplane. So let's now press that reset button in the eye tracker, and here we are again. Okay, so let's go ahead and actually go flying. This is just going to be a visual traffic pattern to demonstrate to you of how much use the eye tracker actually is during takeoff and landing. So let's go ahead and set our thrust to 40%. Stabilized. Set takeoff thrust. Control column forward. Takeoff thrust set, indications normal. $80 knots, control column neutral. V1, rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. Okay, let's start a left-hand turn. We're sitting on the captain's seat, so of course we are going to fly a left-hand pattern so that we can see the runway on the downwind. And let's start the acceleration. Flaps 1. And flaps up. So down there is our fields. So roughly 5 degrees of pitch, 60% and 1, that should get us settled nicely. And there's our airfield. Okay, so let's have a quick look into the different settings that we can find in the flight simulator for the Tobii Eye Tracker. And we find all of those within the control options, and the eye tracker shows up just like any other of your joysticks would, but there is a little difference here. For example, when we look at my Boeing profile, you see the assigned buttons and everything, but on the eye tracker you are not going to see anything. Now, don't be surprised about that, because you actually access the settings using the sensitivity button that you can find up here. And using the sensitivity we can now change and play around with our eye tracker settings. So here is how I liked to configure mine. I have been using the tracker for 2 weeks now and been playing around with the settings quite a bit, and especially the first one, the eye versus head tracking ratio, is something that I really wanted to set to a 1.0. Now what this does is, if you set it all the way to the left, then your image on the screen is going to move around only by tracking your eyes. If you have it anywhere around the middle, it is going to be a mixture of how you move your head and how you move your eyes. and you have it all the way to the right on 1.0, then all the tracker is going to track is the movement of your head. Now personally, I've always gotten a little bit of a headache if I moved my eyes around to look at something and then the picture on the flight simulator would move. So that's why I'm using an entire head tracking, so that my eyes can actually focus on what I want to see. Now, the remainder of the settings is primarily left at default here, with the sensitivity settings for pitch and yaw, the center stabilization, the roll stabilization, but there is something that is really worth playing around with to your likings, and that is down here, the head tracking sensitivity in terms of the position. Now that controls how your camera is moving around as you are moving around in front of your monitor. I've set it to 1.0 in the end, because I do find it to be quite a balanced setup of moving the head physically in front of my monitor and seeing how the position is moving inside the simulator. So you just got to play around with it and find your own settings. The rest of it I left at default because I really like the default sensitivities and the default settings. Apart from that, all that you need to do is to assign some buttons to your joystick in order to actually control the camera and the positions. And mostly over here, these are the two settings that I've been changing and that I've been playing with, which is the toggle head tracking and the eye tracking reset buttons. So the toggle head tracking is what enables and disables the Tobii Eye Tracker 5. And as said, this is, for example, very nice to quickly disable it when you want to program your FMC, so when you're looking at a certain spot on the cockpit for a very long time. And the eye tracking reset button is what I showed you earlier, that is simply going to reset the view position based on exactly what you are looking at right now. So, for example, if you're moving around in your chair, then this is a very nice feature to move around. Now, let's go back into the flight simulator. And as I told you earlier, we are looking outside just as much as we are looking inside. So let me turn on the Tobii Ghost Bubble, which is a very nice feature for those of you creating videos who want to show your audience exactly what you're looking at. So let's go right back into the flight, and now you are going to see what I'm actually looking at as we fly the approach and landing. So welcome back to the party. You are going to notice that a little blue circle has appeared now on the screen, and that is my eyesight. And the Tobii tracker showing you exactly what I'm looking at. Now, this is going to be a very nice tool for me to show you guys exactly where I'm looking. And the one thing that you are going to notice here is that I do tend to actually turn my view to get the point that I want to look at right into the middle of my screen. So let's see, we've got a master caution there, and that is off-scheduled descent. Okay, we can just cancel that, and that is going to return us to the departure field elevation. Now, looking down here at the standby attitude indicator, the moment the glide slope comes in, like it does right now, is a very good point to start our base turn. So let's go flaps 1. And as we are here already, let's quickly go ahead and, oopsie, set the landing flaps as well. Okay, and flaps 5. So where is our field? Down there it is. And let's try to maintain that altitude for now. Very nice. So about 60% of thrust. And there we go, approaching the center line nicely. Boy, that I don't like that pitch. 7.5 degrees doesn't look good. That's much better. Okay, let's see, there comes the center line into view, so we should get the localizer alive any moment. Yep, there it comes. And we are established on the glide slope. So, idle thrust, down we go. Down there is that runway, probably a little bit to the right. Yep, we are. Okay, gear down, flaps 15. Altitude is checked. Let's reset that warning. Master caution. Still the off-scheduled descent. Okay, gonna reset that. And then flaps 30. Set VRF plus 5. So we need about 60%. Flaps are out. And you are going to notice that the closer we get to the landing runway, the more I will be looking outside and the more I will be focusing on looking at the runway itself rather than just looking at thrust settings and rates of descent there, which are worth looking at from time to time though. So speed is looking good, slightly dropping, rate of descent good, tiny bit more thrust. Correcting a bit to the left. And we're back on glide. Okay, nice. Okay, a bit below the glide, but we're on the puppies.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
And right onto the aiming point. Okay, speed brake up, thrust was normal, auto brake disarm, manual brakes. 100 knots. $80 knots. Let's try to catch that exit. 60 knots is passed. Okay, let's see. 14 knots, tiny bit too fast. 12 knots, better. 10 knots, best. Okay, and welcome back to Nürnberg. So, while we are going to go ahead and taxi back to the gate, let's have a quick look into the overall questions that people are often asking about the eye tracker. And the most asked question that I see is, can I actually use the Tobii Eye Tracker while wearing glasses? And the answer is, I'm wearing glasses myself. This video has been recorded using glasses. So, as you can see, there is no problem at all using glasses with the Tobii Eye Tracker 5. Now, if you look at the product page, you're going to notice that they say the maximum recommended screen size is 30 inches. Now, they do say recommended though, and that it will likely work with a bigger screen as well. And indeed, I'm using it with a 42-inch screen, and as you can see, even with the ghost bubble, when I'm looking to the far sides of the monitor, I have no problem making the tracker work pretty much completely. So there is absolutely nothing to be worried about in terms of the screen size. Now, of course, officially it's 30 inches, that's supposed to be the maximum there. Another point that I would quickly like to talk about is the mounting of the tracker on the screen and how you can use it with curved monitors. Now, personally, I don't use a curved monitor anymore. I did use one in the past, but wasn't like a really big fan of it. However, what I can say is that there is a special mount that comes with the tracker so that you could put it down to the bottom of your monitor, and thereby you can attach it to a curved monitor as well. However, the way that I'm doing it on mine, since I have a straight monitor, is that I am simply using that little sticker that came with it that includes a little magnet, and you put that to the front, to the lower front of your screen. and that attaches the eye tracker without any problems. Now, I can just take it off that little magnet and pop it right on whenever I want to. However, rest assured that using the tracker really doesn't impact how my screen looks. I hardly even see it. I have a black monitor and I have a window behind my monitor, so using the Tobii Eye Tracker really is not much a problem there. And to be honest, I don't even see the tracker on my monitor. The only thing I do see of it, and you can see me looking straight down at it right there, the only thing that I do see on it is those little red lights, but they are really weak, and those are the infrared lights that do track your eye and your head movement. But nothing to worry about. The lights are so dim with it that you can without any problems see the or that you can without any problems oversee those lights. Okay, so parking brake is set, and I should probably have cleaned up the airplane earlier, but I've been busy. Another question people are asking a lot is, how does the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 perform in low light conditions? Now, whenever I'm flying my simulator at night, I turn the lights in my room off as well so that they don't reflect off the monitor, and I've never had any problems with the accuracy of the tracking. So the tracker performs really well regardless if you have the lights on, if you have the lights off, or even if the sun is shining through the window and reflecting off my screen. So how do I like the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 then? I absolutely love it, and I really mean it when I say so. I've been using it for 2 weeks now, and it's totally transformed the way how I interact with the simulator. But let's start at the very beginning. When you receive the Tobii Eye Tracker 5, it comes with 2 different kinds of mounts, and it's maybe took me 2 minutes to determine which one I wanted to use and to attach it to my monitor. From there on, you simply plug it into the computer, it downloads all the drivers automatically, and then you can start Microsoft Flight Simulator already. Overall, it took me maybe 2 minutes to read into the setup, because all you need to do is to assign the Enable Head Tracking and the Reset Tracking Position button inside Microsoft Flight Simulator, as I've shown to you, and the default settings are very well balanced, which makes it a joy to use the tracker straight out of the box. However, for those of you who like to configure, there are plenty of configuration options in the sensitivity settings, which makes it very easy to configure the eye tracker to your likings. Now, how do I use it then? Well, the primary use cases I see for the tracker are during taxi, takeoff and landing, which is where you want to have your hands on the controls and you still want an easy way how to look around in your flight deck. During the pre-flight, I typically keep the tracker turned off because I just need the ability to look around between my iPad, where I have my flight plans and my charts on, and my desktop computer all the time. And especially programming the flight management computer is something I do with the eye tracker turned off, because it feels a little bit unnatural to look down with your head, but then look up with your eyes again at the monitor, and to do that for several minutes at a time. Now, when I'm just about going through the cockpit to do some setup like tuning nav radios or selecting landing flaps, as you've seen in my video previously, that is something that I really enjoy using the tracker for, but if I have to look down for a longer time, that is where I typically tend to turn it off. Now, what else is there to say? Well, the accuracy of the tracker is totally amazing. I did use other tracking devices previously, and none of them has been as precise as the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 has been. Now, whether it is tracking my eyes, as you've seen happen with the ghost bubble on my landing, or whether it is tracking the head, as you've seen it happen all the time during the video, both of them work really well. And I've not had any problems wearing glasses, or if my room lights are either turned on or turned off, the tracker worked very precise in both conditions. So, would I recommend the Tobii Eye Tracker 5 then? Well, you kinda guessed it, I absolutely would recommend it. Now, By default it comes at a price of approximately 260 euros. However, at the moment there is a 15% discount available for Microsoft Flight Simulator users, which you can access using the link in the video description below. Also, I would like to take this opportunity to point to the sweepstake of Tobii Gaming at the moment. You have the chance to win a Tobii Eye Tracker by using the link that you can find in the video description below. And over there you will be asked a series of actions to gain entries for the lottery, and the more entries you gain, the higher your chance is to win the first prize, which is going to be the Tobii Eye Tracker. Now, there will be a couple of extra prizes available as well, like copies of the base Microsoft Flight Simulator game. So if you're watching this and you already have an eye tracker and are just looking for the review, or if you're watching this because you are a user of a different simulator, then do enter that competition nonetheless, because you have to be in it to win it, and there are some very cool prizes to be won. Now, the sweepstake is going to go until the 8th of February 2023, so be sure to use the time while it lasts. And even if you're not lucky and you don't win it straight away, you can still get 15% discount using the link in the video description below. Now, that is going to be it for this video. I would like to thank you very much for watching. Hope that you have enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment and subscribe. And I'm looking forward to see you all again on the next one.